Well, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us today. It's a great privilege for me to welcome Fred Earnest. Mr. Earnest is the President, Chief Executive Officer, and Director of Vista Gold Corporation. He served as Director since 2007 and was appointed CEO of the company in January 2012. He served as the company's President and Chief Operating Officer from 2007 to 2012 and as Senior Vice President, Project Development from 2006 to 2007. He's also has been a director of Midas Gold Corporation from April 2011 to 2014, and he has over 30 years experience in the mining industry, including project evaluation, design and construction, mine operations, project optimization and turnaround, mine closure, and senior executive roles. He holds a BS in mining engineering from the Colorado School of Mines. And Fred, I guess welcome to the stage. Great to see you again. And maybe we can kick off with you, maybe just giving us telling us a bit about Vista Gold Corp for those that perhaps are a little bit less familiar with the company.
Yeah, Brian, thank you. It's nice to be with you. Vista is a British Columbia corporation focused on advancing and developing our Mount Todd project, which is located in the Northern Territory of Australia. We trade on both the NYSE American and the TSX stock exchanges under the symbol VGZ. At the end of last year, we had $8.2 million in cash and have received $1.1 million and expect to receive another $3.5 million before the end of July of this year. Our largest shareholders are Sun Valley Gold, the Europac Gold Fund, Lowe's Corp, Global Strategic Management, and Vista's board and management own an additional 3.4%. We're covered by 5 independent analysts and have one bit of paid research that's based out of Vancouver.
And maybe taking it from the Vista Gold level, maybe just give us a bit of an overview of Mount Todd.
Yeah, Mount Todd, as I indicated, is located in the Northern Territory of Australia. It's located about 250 kilometers south of the capital and port city of Darwin. As the project is presently designed, it would have the capacity to produce about 495,000 ounces of gold per year on average over the first 5 years of the project, and life of mine average annual production is estimated to be 413,000 ounces per year. If it were in operation today, it would be the 6th largest gold producer in Australia with lowest quartile in-country costs. Cash costs are estimated to be $575 an ounce, and that's US dollars, on average over the first 5 years. Since 2015, we've spent a lot of time working on metallurgical testing and optimization. And this has resulted in us being able to increase the gold recovery of the project from 81.5% 5 years ago to just under 92% today. At today's gold prices, and realizing that we're recording this a bit early, a gold price of $17.30 and a foreign exchange rate of 76.5 cents, the net present value at a 5% discount rate of the project is estimated to be $1.44 billion US, with an internal rate of return of 34.2%. This is a tremendous project, and it's in a great location.
Well, thanks for that, Fred. I guess it's probably time for us to get down to the brass tacks now a little bit. You've indicated that you're looking towards having perhaps a JV structure to get this project rolling. Maybe you can put out two sides of the coin here. Number one, why? Well, I mean, you've told us a lot of the things about why Mount Todd would be an attractive asset to a JV partner, and maybe where you are in that process and how it's coming along.
Yeah, as I indicated, the project is located in Australia. We think that Australia is a great place to work. It's a mining-friendly jurisdiction. A tremendous part of the economy of Australia is based on the export of natural resources, and so they understand and they get what we're about. Second, this is a large-scale, low-cost project. Partners are looking for something that has life, that has size, and as we've already talked about, the potential production capacity. The project is designed to be a 50,000 ton per day operation, and as such, it has the capacity to process a lot of material and produce a lot of ounces. But with that, the project has a relatively long life of 13 years, and And with a number of additional changes to the design of the project, we believe that it'll be possible to increase the life of the project to something closer to 20 years. Right now, the mine is designed and the reserves are based on $1,000 gold price, which was a very reasonable assumption based on the gold price in the middle of the year of 2019. That when it was $1,350. However, today at $1,730, that's a very, very conservative number. And just increasing the price used to design the mine and develop the reserves to $1,100 or $1,200 will add almost 1 million ounces to reserves and extend the life of the mine by 3 to 4 years. So we have size. We have the operating cost of the project, which we've already discussed, are very favorable. Add to that the fact that all of the environmental permits are already approved. Our environmental impact statement was approved in 2014, and subsequently we were required to obtain an environmental authorization under the Federal Environmental Protection Biodiversity Conservation Act. That authorization was received in January of 2018. And we now believe that we're within weeks of receiving the approval of what's called the mine management plan, or the mine operating permit, as we would call it here in North America. With the authorization of that mine management plan, we will then be in the position of holding all of the major permits for the development of the project. Add to that the social license that we enjoy. We've been working in the area of the project since 2006. We've developed a very strong relationship with the local community, territory government leaders, and most importantly with the Jawoyn Aboriginal people, with whom we recently modernized our agreement and updated it to include a sliding scale royalty to provide them additional upside opportunity and leverage to the project, but also to give us the ability to be able to manage the project as we see fit. We've agreed to some protocols for communications between the two of us, and we're now working on some strategies and some plans that will govern how we manage and protect sacred and culturally significant sites. The project enjoys tremendous leverage to the price of gold. For every $100 increase in the price of gold, the NPV of the project increases by $200 million. This is one of those few projects that's truly shovel ready. All of the long lead time items, such as permitting and a lot of the engineering work, have already been completed. I guess it's worthy to note that while we report the technical report and the results of the project are reported as a preliminary feasibility study, almost all of the engineering is already at feasibility study standards. With the exception of the piping, electrical, and instrumentation designs in the process plant, all of the remaining engineering for the project is already at feasibility study standards. We've done a lot of the work to de-risk the project. Add to that the resource growth potential. I've already mentioned how we think we can extend the life of the mine and add to reserves just through bringing our pit plans up to a gold price that's more reflective of today's gold price. In addition, there's tremendous exploration potential. And we think that with the appropriate exploration expenditure, that there will be a significant increase in the resources as we expand what's now presently just the Batman deposit to become more of a district play.
Well, thanks for that, Fred. Along those lines, late last year, you started a small exploration program, and you've had some positive results there. Recently, you've announced that you're expanding the program and adding another drill. Can you give us just a bit of an overview of some of the results to date and the objective of the overall program going forwards?
Yeah, so last fall, we started a proof of concept drilling program. The intent of that program was to assess and evaluate the continuity of mineralization as it projected to the north and the northeast out of the Batman deposit and out of the limits of the current Batman pit. That drilling was very successful, and we were following up on the results of surface mapping, and we demonstrated that there's two structures that continue northward that tie into other known gold occurrences on the surface north of the Batman deposit. Subsequent to completing that program, we've commenced a program to step out and to begin to trace and track some of these mineralized structures and trends as far as 500 meters and a kilometer north of the Batman deposit. The last hole that was completed as part of the first program stepped out 500 meters online and in the projected path of continuity of the Batman deposit. And there we intersected, well, not of significance, just on basis of the intercept, 30 meters of 1.23 grams. The fact that this hole was drilled in an area where there's no other significant deep drilling, and we intersected the mineralization as we had projected it, gave us a great deal of confidence. As a result of that hole, we made the decision to bring in a second rig. And we're now drilling at a faster rate to test the continuity of mineralization as we step out from the Batman deposit northward toward the Gulf and Tullis targets. We're very encouraged by what we've seen. You know, one of the things that happened at Mount Todd after we acquired it is that most of the historic drilling was 100 meters in depth or less. And we invested in almost 60,000 meters of drilling at the Batman deposit, all of it deeper than 200 meters. And with that, we almost tripled the resource. The resource increased from 3.3 million ounces to over 9 million ounces. We believe that while there's several known occurrences of gold based on historic drilling in the Batman Driffield structural corridor or trend north of the Batman deposit, we believe that there's the same potential to significantly increase the resources of the project through drilling below the shallow drilling of the historic drilling. And so we now have 2 rigs on site. We expect to be able to announce results in a more timely and more consistent manner. And we invite and encourage people to follow the results of this drilling program. We're very excited about this. And while we're only looking at the area, you know, half a kilometer to a kilometer north of the Batman deposit at the present time, this structural corridor extends 5.4 kilometers from the Batman deposit north to the Quigley's deposit, and then on to our exploration licenses. And so we believe that there's tremendous opportunity to increase the size and the life of the Mount Todd project through the drill bit.
That's great. And you've alluded to several of them already, but perhaps you can lay out the catalyst that we should be expecting as we go forward through the year on exploration and permitting and so on.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, and most immediately will be the announcement of the approval of our mine management plan. And obviously that'll be very significant to be one of those few projects that's fully permitted and ready to go forward. Second is obviously the drilling results. And we've just kind of alluded to the fact that those results will be forthcoming on a more regular basis. While maybe not of as much importance to from an investment value point of view, as part of this concept of continually de-risking and taking care of the heavy lifting beforehand, we anticipate that by midsummer this year, we will have the Batman pit completely dewatered. This is a project that we started working on with water treatment activities in 2014, and then in 2018 began the dewatering. And, you know, this is light at the end of the tunnel. And with this, we will then be at a point or at a position where truly work in the pit could commence at any point in time. Last of all, obviously, you know, potential news related to a strategic transaction for the development of the project. The process has been delayed. We've fallen victim to the COVID-19 pandemic. The travel restrictions in Australia prevent us from being able to get companies who have signed confidentiality agreements who don't have Australian-based teams to the site to conduct due diligence. But nonetheless, we have a number of confidentiality agreements signed, and there are companies that are active in the data room, and there's questions that are being asked and discussions that are being held. So I don't want to raise expectations at any time soon, but obviously that would be perhaps our most important catalyst, would be reaching an agreement with a potential partner for the development of Mount Todd in a way which minimizes dilution to our shareholders and allows us to go forward in a way that assures that the project will be developed in accordance with our standards and high expectations.
Well, thank you very much for that, Fred. I think we have left a couple of minutes if anybody has questions to enter into the Q&A section there. But once again, always a pleasure. Thanks, Fred.
Thank you, Brian.